I could not be here breathing and be comfortable if I was really as bad as they was making it. Nobody could be around me. So for me to be this calm, I must have some kind of inner peace. And my inner peace is knowing that once everybody take the time to really see what type of person I am, you'd be surprised that I stuck around this long. I have to make the life that I do live as happy as I can and try to do the best with what I have. Live the best life I can live, be as happy as I can be. Nothing is perfect for anybody. I don't know.
Boys, I swear, I think I figured it out. You know why they don't want us redneck brothers and sisters and the hood brothers and sisters getting along? You know why? Because we'd be unstoppable. I'm telling you right now, we would shut shit down.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to get into our forward thinking. That was just updates on some hot topics. And now we're going to get into, should we go back to Africa? Yes. Go ahead, white people say, yes, go back. Go back to Africa. Big True going to say, go back. Listen, if I had the funds, I don't know if I'd be back in Africa. I'd definitely probably be in Barbados or somewhere where it ain't all of this shit going on around here. Okay? You think you're living good out here. You think you're living good, okay? We didn't come here by choice, but we're going to talk about some of these issues that is really touchy right now, okay? So I'm going to let you know. You're going to be a little offended, but we're going to talk about it. So warning, some of the images may be graphic, but some of the topics that we talk about may be graphic. And you know why I say that? Because it's so sad. Every time we talk about Black people and the things that go on with us, get offended. People are offended. You should forget about it. That happened years ago. Literally, our captivity was in the Bible. Our captivity was in the Bible. We just supposed to forget about it. But let's watch this before I get into some of the topics that I want to get into that's plaguing the Black community.
Take a look at it. Take a good look at that nose, or what used to be that nose, and take a look at those lips. What used to be those lips? What happened to them? Why'd they blow them off? Napoleon did it. Then look at this nose. Look at these lips. Think about it.
That's all I'm saying. You already know I talked about them wanting to erase history. And that's okay because you have a guilty conscience. You can't erase our history because if you have people like me, I'm keeping tabs on everything because you can't tell our story. I'm not one of those people who want you to tell the story. And that's what you're not going to like. That community who continues to try to separate Black people from the world as though we're a plague, as though everything we do is terrible, but you continue to utilize our skills, our talents, and utilize our money in your commerce, as well as our style, our comedy, everything. But we supposed to be just wiped off the earth and not have no respect. And now this is what I want to talk about, Black America. They're still making laws for us. You don't understand that laws are still being made for us like we're immigrants, like we're migrants. That's why when you have people like Dr. Claude Anderson talk about this as also Amos Wilson, because I share some of these great philosophers, and I would say philosophers in some aspects, and their theories about what's going to happen to the Black community. This is one of their theories. They're going to continue to make laws for us to establish what's the status norm and what we can and cannot do, because we are second-class citizens. And we're going to end up being third-class citizens behind all these migrants that coming in that we're going to talk about today. Okay? All right. So now this is going to be two actual states that I came across most recently that is literally rejecting the passage of the Crown Act. It's so sad that we have a Crown Act. West Virginia lawmakers reject passage of Crown Act and law that bans race-based hair discrimination. I just feel like we're so regressed in our opinions and our views in regards to Black African Americans. We tend to get pushed aside. Excuse me, this is by Essence magazine. Said Veronica Brutch. Okay. So our hair is on trial, which is ridiculous at the end of the day, because everybody else can be them but we can't. But we can, because when who we are and what our essence are is copycat. The big butt thing that didn't come from nobody but us. The big full lips that came from us. You see other nations who want to have full hair, but every time we try to be us and have rock our essence, we're being disintegrated by way of law, not only by way of all other means, social media, being just disregarded at work. I mean, just as far as bringing in skills, bringing in ideas, being competitive, and not even getting to where we need to. So now we're back to this petty nonsense, okay? Knowing that we can't use perms because perms cause cancer. Yeah, okay. So Republican lawmakers in West Virginia has rejected the Crown Act bill based on race-based hair discrimination. And we're the only race that allegedly have hair that stick up on the top of our head. No, we have other ones that have kinky hair, but our hair is the most. You know what I'm saying. The bill was pulled by Senator Eric Terra on a Republican in late February and was sent to the Senate Finance Committee where it was stalled. Okay, as according to the Mountain State Spotlight and the spokesperson for the legislator, Terra report expresses concerns about potential hair discrimination lawsuits costing the state too much. So literally, they thought that we were going to come and start to sue them for hair discrimination. Now, I will say the same level that we have to prove in regular discrimination in law will probably be the same level that we have to prove in hair discrimination. Now, they will probably catch more people in that because it'll probably be evidence of someone saying, hey, your hair is too long, why you do your hair like that. And that creates evidence. Okay, so I can understand why they're like, wait, some lawsuit's going to come, because that's going to be something that can be proven fastly than actually just general discrimination, because you don't have the boss, the racist boss or prejudiced boss say, hey, you black girl, I ain't gonna never give you a job, or you black nigga, I ain't giving you increase because it is. They just don't do it, and they just treat you passively aggressive. So this is the war against our hair, and I really do believe this is gonna further push us out of the job market, because I'm gonna give you an example. My son has that hairstyle where he is like the loose dreads. You know where all these young boys got these dreads coming down on his head. Let me show you a picture real quick. I think I got a picture like this. This is it. Okay, let me just show you. That's it right there. Okay, but it got really long and it's hanging down on his face. And once they see him come in to look for a job, baby, oh, we're not hiring. It has happened where he had called. They said, oh, no problem, come in and fill application. And when he came 5-10 minutes later down the street, they wasn't hiring. And you already know I put a review on that job, on that place. Okay, but what that goes to say, now in particular states, they have the right to do that. And I'm gonna have to say, if I'm under the guise of separate but equal, black people, you ain't gonna like this either. If I'm under the guise of separate but equal, this is something that we're just gonna have to deal with. Because at the end of the day, they're still doing this regardless. This is being done regardless if it's a law or if it's not. Because people have more bite to their mouth, and they don't have to say, I don't like your hair or your weave too long or whatever. They're just not gonna hire you. So this is just gonna embolden people to even talk more about our black essence, our black qualities, and put more chains and barriers on it. So this is another story. In Texas, judge ruled school district legally punished black student who wouldn't cut his locks. Who are you to tell someone to cut their hair, to cut their locks? Locks are even in the Bible. Y'all serious? So Solomon didn't have no daggone locks? King Solomon didn't have no locks? They ain't cut their hair with locks? Stop it. Okay. So Texas judge ruled school district legally punished black student who wouldn't cut hair. The Texas judge ruled Tuesday that Houston area school district legally punished 18-year-old student Daryl George Gregory, do apologize, who was suspended multiple times for wearing his hair in locks. Suspended for wearing his hair in locks. No type of disturbance, not bothering nobody. It's on your body. But it's just because we're a nuisance. The black essence in our face is a nuisance. And I know it's like hard for you to hear a black woman say this, but I know what it is. I'm a straight shooter. I can feel the vibrations when people are uncomfortable. But that says something to you that you could physically see somebody that don't have nothing to do with you. You don't have to have nothing to do with them, or they're just minding their business, doing their job, and their hair or their essence bother you to the point that you want to alter it. There are many things about Caucasian people that I do believe black people find appalling. Just downright don't have nothing to do with it. Okay. But we don't go and say, well, you have to specifically do this when you're working with us, even though you know what the reason why it's not a subject, black people, because we don't own enough of nothing. How about that? That's real talk. We don't even own enough to get a legislative push like this. It wouldn't even make no sense right now for us to even do that. But I am the one that do accept the separate but equal, and I feel the same way they do. Even though I will not approach it where I will be like, "Oh, you can't work for me because you're this particular color, or you this particular nation, or you're here this type of way." Now I may not want to punk rock, or I don't know about that, but you could probably be the coolest person in the world. But with that goes to say, I feel like with the separate but equal, if you want to have your preference, we gonna have our preference as well. And the only way we're gonna be able to create our preference, black people, if we have our own commerce, if we have our own industries, if we create our own jobs, we continue to depend on them to financially support us, so we continue to be subjected to this nonsense. This is why other nations can talk about what they're gonna do, what they got not gonna do, and how it's gonna work, and we can't. And that's real. And we're literally like just boats sailing in the ocean, just going every which a different direction. Okay. All right. So I know I said a mouthful about that. I'm gonna stop right there. Okay. I ain't gonna disclose too much of my thoughts about that. But I will say at the end of the day, if this is the way it's gonna be, as far as you're gonna put it on books, because that's how you feel anyway. Not everybody. Because I have some, I'm gonna be honest. And I just was telling one of my close friends who I grew up with, me being in solitude over these last couple of years, the closest people to me who has been close and genuine actually been people who've been descendants of Esau. Sorry to say, they behaved like Esau, but I knew they was of Caucasian nation, and they were people who lived from their hearts. They were people who genuinely wanted to help, genuinely, and that's what we need. So we have a separate but equal type thing where we come together, work together, and then go home to different people's houses. That's pretty much fine. But if your hate is so big and so tangible that you can't work with someone just because of their hair that has nothing to do with you, then you do need to be separate. You do need to be separate. And I do think that's okay for them to do that, because we don't no longer need to be subjected to this type of behavior. You don't want to be subjected to us. We don't want to be subjected to you. You're going to see Caucasian people, all of these migrants that come in, what has happened internationally, the tone that America has set with other nations, they hate white people. They hate the American white people because that's what that represents America. So they're not gonna look at us too much. They probably won't even be able to distinguish us till we open our damn mouth. You better think about what your government has set up for you. You see what I'm saying? You have a body of people here who have grown up in your nation. We have tried to accept the hate that lives in your ancestors that allegedly didn't trickle down towards you, but only the generation of well. We have tried, but it continue to be more and more of this naturalization of us, of creating laws for us as though that we're aliens, and we are aliens, Black America. This is why they had to emancipate us. This is why they had to take us out of the status of chattel, allegedly, and rank us as humans to a certain capacity, then put everybody else back as chattel. We all chattel now. We in chattel slavery. Everybody, no matter what color you are. American debt. They caught us all. 1934, the Gold Reserve Act. Learn about it. Yeah, but anyway, so they say, well, we don't need to just capture black people. We're gonna capture them all. But with that goes to say, they've been making laws from us from the beginning. Remember, the laws that they're gonna be making for these migrants, they've been doing the same thing with us. What we're gonna see is that they get more resource than us, and you as well, the Americans who've been here already. Okay, so I say all of that to say that we can be separate but equal. But remember, we're still on the same playing field, baby. So you could keep on playing their game of this race politics and bullshit, and you're gonna see where it leads you. Because we are very strong people. We are very strong and resilient people. And as you saw with my introduction, I'm very universal. If you're gonna work with me, we're gonna work with you. Once we stick together, they're not gonna be able to pull us down. But you don't realize that because you're all about this race-based politics and not knowing Jesus Christ. Let's keep it moving. All right. Yeah. Come on. I know Jesus, not if you hate black people.
Haven't caught up yet, despite slavery ending over 150 years ago. They're wrong. It ended 80 years ago. When was the last slave freed in America? It wasn't after the Civil War, it was during World War II in September 1942. Our current president, Joe Biden, was born 2 months later. Until he graduated from college, black people had to drink out of a separate water fountain. Segregation didn't end until the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Jim Crow ended with the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which allowed black people to vote again. But just a few years after that, Nixon came along with his war on drugs, which disenfranchised and imprisoned even more black people on purpose.
The Nixon campaign in 1968 and the Nixon White House after that had two enemies, the anti-war left and black people. You understand what I'm saying? We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or black, but by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and the blacks with heroin, and criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt those communities. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Of course we did.
Wonder why.
So, yeah, we're going to stop right there, right from the horse's mouth. Continue to play the game. And we're going to continue to be lost and we're going to be played like pawns, okay? Because at the end of the day, we got to get ready for what's going on. Only the strong will survive. Now, let's move on. I want to give you another example of something that happened that you may have not known. And this is when it's going to hit. But black people and white people keep saying that, oh, why would you want to get a federal no hanging, no lynching bill? Even though the law of man is not going to change the heart and the demons that possess people. But this is another most recent brutal. It's not a hanging, but this is a decapitation. I'm going to read this to you, okay, guys? Let's get to it. This is Cheryl Turner, 19-year-old, was beheaded in Louisiana and found on January 24th, 2024. Her family was notified today, February, of their egregious murder. That day was February 23rd, 1 month later. A lot of these egregious acts I would like to go deep into, but sometimes I have to give my soul a rest. But I want to show you what we continue to be faced. And at the end of the day, Judgment Day is going to come. You can sit and you can act like these egregious acts that's happening to your fellow human being is not happening, don't have anything to do with you, or it's not you. But guess what? Silence is acquiescence as well. How about that? So some of these topics where we talk about these brutalities, if I have the stomach for it, I'm going to go more in detail, but I really don't have the stomach for it because when you watch a lot of these videos of your people being hanged, killed, and they say, oh, it was a suicide. Oh, this person did, it makes you build a hard heart. It makes you start to feel what your enemies are feeling towards you. I'm going to be honest. That's why I don't watch some things because it does make me mad. And they do want that to be. They want us as black people to react, retaliate, and do types of stuff. But guess what? Not this brown melanated Hebrew sister. I will not burn in hell for you. How about that? Now, we're about 40 minutes into the live. We're going to give you a little taste from our sponsors. How about that?
Would you like to learn a brand new and innovative way to invest your extra money that has a low barrier to entry and low competition? What if I told you that it is a guaranteed method to get up to 18 to 20% return on your investment? Tax lien and deed purchasing is the only way to get into the real estate market through the back door. No credit and no loans needed. This method isn't commonly taught, and therefore the competition is very low, for now. Put together a 14-hour info-packed course which will teach you everything you'll need to know to get started. Learn at your own pace, step-by-step guided video and aids to start you on the TLC deed investment process. The course offers many learning tools for new investors, helping ensure you safely invest in tax liens and deeds. Contact us today and join the buyback team.
I could not be here breathing and be comfortable if I was really as bad as they was making it. You know, nobody could be around me. So for me to be this calm, I must have some kind of inner peace. And my inner peace is knowing that once everybody take the time to really see what type of person I am, you'd be surprised that I stuck around this long.
I have to make the life that I do live as happy as I can and try to do the best with what I have. You know, live the best life I can live, be as happy as I can be. Nothing is perfect for anybody. I don't know.
Boys, I swear, I think I figured it out. You know why they don't want us redneck brothers and sisters and the hood brothers and sisters getting along? You know why? Because we'd be unstoppable. I'm telling you right now, we would shut shit down.